right? Has anybody ever thought about being God? Like, I would like to be God sometimes. I thought about, what about the pain and the heartbreak that God experiences? Like, truly, like, think about being the all-knowing, all-loving, all-caring, compassionate, kind God who cares deeply and intimately about every single part of every single person and watching them do the things that people do. Knowing and watching that there's going to be a moment in their life where they're going to walk away from the relationship. And that's the picture that gets painted in Hosea. The Lord said to Hosea, go take yourself a wife of harlotry and have children of harlotry, for the land, the people commit flagrant harlotry, forsaking the Lord. There's two schools of thought of what it means to be the wife of harlotry. The first school of thought, or the first option, is that Gomer was a prostitute, and perhaps a prostitute in the temples of Baal, and that Hosea goes and marries her out of that lifestyle. But there's a second option. This of harlotry would indicate the type of woman that Gomer would become. And so God is making a present statement about a future reality. He knew who she was going to become, and he was telling Hosea, you're going to marry a woman who's going to step out on you. As I studied through this, it seemed to be more consistent with the story of Israel, the story of the Jewish people as God is laying out here in Hosea. And God goes down and redeems them and brings them out. And he takes them into the wilderness, and he takes them to Sinai, and he gives them the law. He gives them his covenant of love. He marries them in that place and says, if you will obey, then I will be your God and you will be my people. And that's what Israel does here. And that's what Hosea does with Gomer. He goes and brings her into this love relationship, and he makes a covenant with her, and he marries her. And then over time, she begins to wander away. It's the same as Israel begins to wander away from God when he brings them into the promised land. And so in chapter 2, God brings them to this place of bringing them into a court case. And he says, Israel, you've broken the vows. You're not treating this relationship like we're in covenant. You're not treating it like we are husband and wife. All the things that you thought other gods gave you, all the things you thought you had by your own hand, he goes, I'm going to take all of those. You're not going to find satisfaction or fulfillment, and you're going to remember that it was all because of me, and I'm a good God, and you'll no longer call me just master. You'll call me husband again. And you'll say to people, that is my God. That is the God that I love. That is the God that loves me. That is the God that I worship, the God that I serve. But the question is, will you return to the Lord? Will you repent of those sins that separated you? Will you come back to him today? He wants your heart. He wants your life. Not because he's a heavy taskmaster, but because he's a loving father and a good husband.